Hello, you're watching James. My name's James, you're watching me, and I am talking about watches. Today I am rather excited to share with you my first impressions video of another Steinhart watch. This is the second Steinhart I have owned. After buying and owning and enjoying the first one, I knew that I wanted to buy another from the company because the watch was such good quality, it was so nice and I enjoyed it so much. But this time I wanted to dive into their catalogue and find my favourite Steinhart, the one that I thought looked the best. And it is a watch I've been looking at for some time now. It is the Ocean One Vintage Military. This one here is a little bit bigger than my last Steinhart. It is a watch that I really like the look of, and it is a watch that I've wanted for some time, but I hadn't bought. And the reason that I had not bought it is because when I like watches and when I decide to buy a watch, I jump online and watch lots of reviews, and some of those reviews told me that it was a little bit flat, the lug to lug felt a little bit big, and perhaps it sat on wrist a little bit strangely. So it sort of put me off slightly. But recently I was able to find it at a reasonable price and I thought I'd take the risk and buy it. And what I can say right now is those fears have been alleviated. I think it looks fantastic on wrist. So before we jump into the first impressions, if you haven't clicked on that subscribe button, I really would appreciate it if you just tap on it. Thank you so much. But let's flip the camera around now and let me show you my first impressions of this new Steinhart Vintage Military. So I'm always very impressed by the Steinhart packaging. I think for this sort of price sort of range, I think you do get a lot for your money, both with the packaging as well as the watch. Nice little outer box, a nice sort of inner box, exactly the same box to my previous Steinhart. Very nice and squishy inside. I feel very confident that if this is in the post, it's going to survive and arrive on my doorstep perfectly. And here we have the watch. And this particular one I did buy used and I got a pretty good deal for it as well. So I'm very happy with that. And I'm very happy with the watch. It is absolutely amazing. I am super impressed. Just like my last Steinhart that I bought, I'm really impressed by the fit and the finish of the watch, the looks of it. And I really do like the clasp and the bracelet and pretty much everything about it. So we're looking at sort of a fairly simple dial with all these like sort of vintage style or vintage coloured sort of lume on the hands and on those indices. Got a little pearl there. Now, something I have noticed about these Steinharts, very nice bezel action. Absolutely firm and secure, but very firm. Same on the last one. And the last one I thought was probably maybe a little bit broken because it was so firm, but I have been told since then that they are just known for their firm bezel action. This one is a little bit softer, a little bit easier to use, but still definitely firm. And the edges are done very well. We've got the Steinhart logo on the crown there, guarded to crown. Yeah, just very well put together. And a nice weight to it as well. Brushed bracelet there. As you can see, a few marks, but that's perfectly fine. I would have put that on it in a few months anyway of wearing it. Just a very well put together, very well good looking sort of watch. Contains the ETA 2824, I believe. Has the Steinhart logo on the case back there. Yep, solid end links. Fitting very well. A nice feeling bracelet as well. And I think I mentioned with the last one as well, although my favourite sort of style of clasp is with the pushes, this one actually works really nice. It's very smooth. It's all milled. Feels really good. Yeah, the quality of this thing is fantastic. 4 sets of micro adjust, which is absolutely perfect. You can't complain about that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's jump this on wrist and see how it looks and feels. And I think it actually fits super well. I think amongst the Steinhart range, this is my favourite that they offer, the favourite looking watch. But when I'd seen a few reviews of it, there was 2 things that worried me a tiny little bit. And that's, I guess, the problem sometimes when you look at these reviews. Sometimes it really helps you convince you to buy a watch. Other times it sort of puts you off buying them. The reviews said that the lug to lug is a little bit long and it sits quite flat. And if you're looking down my wrist there, you can see it does sit quite flat. There is some gaps here and here. But when you're looking down onto my wrist, when you're actually looking at what you do really look at a watch, when you're looking down, it looks fantastic. It fits really well. I have a 6 3/4 inch wrist for your reference, and I'm very happy with it. I think it is an amazing looking watch, and I really like how it has that strong vintage vibes Obviously this one is very much homaging a vintage Rolex, and I really like that vintage Rolex. It's probably my favorite Rolex in the whole Rolex lineup. But obviously that vintage Rolex you can't get for under $100,000. There's not that many of them available. If you can find one, they cost an absolute fortune, so I will not be buying it. And I think this is the next best thing. And I have to say, in a way, I think it's probably better. Well, at least it's better for me, because it's a newer sort of style watch, has newer technology, it has a newer movement in it, and it's certainly absolutely affordable for me. I'm really, really happy with it. I can't wait to wear this one long term. I think it's going to become one of my favorite watches in my collection. I like it that much. Sometimes you get these watches and they're great, but then sometimes you get the watch and it's amazing. And this might be amazing. I'm really interested to see what I think of it after a couple of months on wrist. Thanks guys for watching. Just the first impressions today. I will be wearing this a lot, and I'll bring out a full in-depth review of it, which I'll then talk about price, show lume, show dimensions, all that good stuff. First impressions, I just like to get those initial thoughts out onto a video. As always, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.